All right, we're back again with Coach Matt Gordon, guest host on the show today. Just going to be doing this breakdown of the Lakers and Miami Heat Game 1. Most of you guys just saw this game. Lakers, pretty dominant performance, a little bit sloppy at the end, but for the most part, we saw a lot from both teams. Miami dealt with a few injuries. I'm not sure how that's going to affect them going into Game 2. But what we're going to do today is we're just going to kind of break down what we saw and how do we think what happened today will impact the series. How you doing, Coach Gordon?
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me back. Not the most exciting game, but Lakers just pretty dominant tonight.
Yeah, I was kind of, when the game started, I was thinking that the Miami Heat might have found something, especially when they made that run early, and for whatever reason, I'm not for sure exactly what happened. It just looked like they let off the gas. I think things changed when they were forced to go to their bench. It really kind of exposed the fact that their bench really needs to perform against this Laker team for them to compete. What did you see from them, especially in that first quarter going into that second quarter? What changed for the Lakers for them to get the momentum back, and not just get the momentum back, build on it and build a lead going into halftime?
I thought the Heat came out really strong. Obviously, made a lot of shots. Lakers got out early, and I think KCP's 2 threes when LeBron went out really got him back in the game, got him calmed down, and then from there they just kind of cruised. Miami went on a cold spell a little. The bench came in for the Lakers. Rondo made a big difference, playmaking, getting guys open looks. And, I think they started the game, the Lakers, shooting like 65% from the three. And like we talked about yesterday, if they shoot it well, there's not really much chance Miami has to stop them. And, we saw that tonight. Then it just became an avalanche. And Miami couldn't make a shot after the Crowder hit a few threes. And Hero made a few threes when he came in. But after that, they kind of just leveled off, and the Lakers outscored them by 30, I think, the last part of the first quarter and all the second quarter. So it's basically your ball game at halftime.
Yeah, that was really big for the Lakers, being able to make that second quarter run going into the third. I think what I've heard Frank Vogel talk about a lot is really coming out in the third quarter, not starting slow, getting out to good starts in the third quarter. I think the Lakers did a really good job heading into that third quarter, staying focused, building on that lead even more, and just making it hard for Miami to even, gain any confidence. When we look at some of their performances, Jimmy Butler with 23 points, Crowder with 12, Hero with 14. I mean, are there any bright spots on that Miami team, even though it was a bad performance overall for the Heat? Going into that second half, were there any bright spots that you saw for that Miami Heat team?
Yeah, I think the one good thing Miami can take away from it is the Lakers probably won't shoot that well to start a game again. Maybe they will. But also Kendrick Nunn, I think, not playing really in the bubble and then coming out tonight and having a great performance. Had 18 points, I know, in the second half, filling in for Dragic, and I think that's important. I know that he makes some shots. He had a couple good basket cuts to the rim, read the defense, and was able to score, which was probably good for Miami because really they don't have a guy except for maybe Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler. Once in a while, they can just take their guy ISO, and in the playoffs, especially in the finals against a great defensive team like the Lakers, who will swallow you up, you need 1 or 2 guys that can get their own, like we talked about, and I think Nunn's one of those guys that can do it. So maybe they got some confidence in him, and he can be a factor moving forward in the series. But other than that, with Bam going down an injury and having only 1 day off, it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back and see if they get Dragic back. If not, their depth gets depleted greatly, as we saw tonight. The Miami Heat, except for Nunn, really struggled, I thought, in this game and didn't really got a little jittery, looked like it was the finals and their first game in the finals.
Yeah, I thought the same thing about Miami. I think I talked to you about this earlier. I think they looked a little shell-shocked, especially when the Lakers were able to make that run. They You know, they made such a great effort to take the lead early in the game. They made a great run. They had their confidence going. But we all know that the NBA is just a game of runs. Both teams are going to make runs, and it's just about how you can sustain and during those runs, and then recover after they make those runs. What I want to touch on too is, you know, one thing I like about this Laker team is their depth on the bench. We saw those guys. We saw Caldwell Pope, Danny Green, and Caruso all scored in double digits today. But you still have guys coming off that bench like Rondo, Morris. And, you know, they have so many guys who can come off that bench and give you double-digit points. I like the fact that, you know, the bright spot is that not all of those guys came off the bench and played well. I don't expect a lot of those guys to play this well every night, but I like the fact that they got so many guys who can come off that bench and give it to you. So, you know, if Green doesn't have it one night, maybe Kuzma does. And the same thing with Caldwell Pope and Caruso and those guys. What do you think about that Laker bench, and how important do you think it's going to be going down the stretch of this series?
Yeah, I think their biggest thing is they know their role. And like you said, it could be Kuzma one night, it could be Caruso one night, it could be Markieff Morris one night, you know. And those guys just play their role and shoot it when they're open and when they're supposed to, and take it to the basket when they're supposed to. And, you know, they're great role players, complementary guys to the two stars. And, you know, the thing works, and they all defend. You know, Rondo still, I don't know how long he's been in the league, but a long time, and he really gets up and he applies foul pressure as a pass. Caruso's a really, really good defender. And so, you know, you get those guys coming in, and then you get Kuzma for his shot making tonight. I think he made his first one and then missed the rest. But, you know, that's why they're a good team. They're dominant because everybody understands what they're good at, and they do it.
Yeah, that's true. And I definitely got to speak on Anthony Davis, man. I think he was the player of the night. 34 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. I just don't. I mean, we knew Anthony Davis and LeBron James would come into this series and do what they do and have big games. But I think it was just the way that Anthony Davis did it for me. I don't want to say he made it look easy. You know, the Miami Heat are a great team. But it just looked as if the Miami Heat didn't have, or just don't have, an answer for Anthony Davis. Bam, I think right now at their stages in their career, I think Bam is just going to get outsmarted on too many plays. We saw that same thing with Derrick Jones Jr., you know, trying to guard LeBron in the post. This is where I think the experience of these, you know, I think the experience is going to be the difference. I know Bam is a great player, AD's a great player, but I think what cancels, you know, for me, what cancels each other out is the fact that the Lakers have so much experience. It's going to propel them. Hopefully, I hope the Miami Heat don't play like this again, because if they play like this in Game 2, it could potentially end up being a sweep. Just let me know what you think about how James and AD performed, the two stars of the night. You know, and do you think they can sustain those two performances? Because there have been a lot of questions about LeBron James being able to maintain this level of play, and fatigue could potentially be a factor with a player like LeBron James going into a 17th season.
Yeah, I don't think the fatigue for those guys is an issue right now. Those guys are in such great shape and are workaholics, and they'll be fine. They're mentally tough. I think AD was aggressive tonight. One thing, you know, when he's aggressive and he's determined not to shoot a lot of jump shots, which I don't think he did. He attacked. Those guys did make some made 2 for 4 from the 3, I think, made a couple mid-range, but most of the stuff was around the rim. And for him, that's really the most important thing. I thought he also did a good job when the double team came, not to force it. They swung the ball, got an open 3 early, and that really helped because now they weren't going to double as hard or as much, and that gives him single coverage to make plays. I was disappointed a little with the Heat's energy on defense. They're a really good defensive team, and their energy today just didn't look good. Maybe it was the first game of the finals. I don't know. Maybe it'll be better next game. I'm sure it will be after their performance tonight. I think Spoelstra was probably really disappointed in their energy defensively. Their doubles were soft and slow. And if you're going to double Anthony Davis, you got to go hard at him. You got to go hard at LeBron. You can't go half speed because they're such good passers. They're going to make you beat. They're going to beat it because they see it coming. You're done. But because they're just so good and they're so great. and they just let the game come to them. And when they do that, both those guys are unbelievable, Hall of Fame. Obviously, they're both Hall of Fame players, but just ridiculous how good they are when they just let the game come to them and don't force jump shots.
Yeah, I like what you said about the traps. I thought Miami, I think the idea of going to try to trap AD was actually a pretty good idea. The traps just looked as if they were coming too late. And when you allow this team to see the trap coming, they're all pretty decent passers. AD is a decent passer. LeBron's a great passer. Rondo's a great passer. If they can see that coming, that's where they can really beat you. So I think that's something that Spoelstra's really going to have to talk to with his team about going into the next game. But, we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up. The last thing I really want to touch on, and I want to hear what you think about this, is in what the Miami Heat did not want to happen today. Jimmy Butler, it looked like it was a pretty serious ankle sprain. Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo, both injuries. How do you think that's going to impact that Miami Heat team going into Game 2?
I mean, that's worse than the loss. I mean, they could probably, if those three were healthy, weren't banged up after tonight, and they lost by the same amount or more, they would just chalk it up to bad performance. LA shot the mess out of it and deserved to win by 30. We've watched a lot of playoff finals in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Teams getting blown out and bouncing back and winning the next game, because they got their energies and their concentrations up, and they're more locked in. Human nature, because you win by 30, you're going to be a little less locked in next game. That's just how it is. But with three guys banged up, that can be tough. It's three starters, and obviously two of their best players in Bam and Jimmy. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond. Luckily, they don't have to get on a plane. I know that can make those type of injuries worse. So them just not having to travel, I think, really helps, and getting treatment all the time. So we'll see how those guys recover, because that's going to be huge in this series moving forward. If those guys are hurt, it's going to probably be a really short series.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree with that. But, hey, there we have it right there. Lakers with a dominant Game 1 performance, 116-98 win over the Miami Heat, man. But we definitely appreciate Coach Gordon for taking the time to stop in today to help us do this Game 1 NBA Finals breakdown. We'll be back after Game 2 with another breakdown. Make sure you guys don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever we drop these game highlight breakdowns, and also when we go live. Also, make sure you do not forget to join our Facebook group, NBA GOAT Talk. NBA GOAT Talk on Facebook. You want to make sure you join that group so you're eligible to win prizes when we announce those live streams. And that's probably going to start happening Game 2, 2 hours before Game 2 starts. So, again, make sure you hit that notification bell. But, again, it's been a great show. Again, we appreciate Coach Gordon for stepping in today at that guest host position. And we'll be back with another show. FYF Sports.